Hi everyone. So today we're going to be working in 14.2 and I want you to turn to page 367. If you need to go find your book, make sure you put us on pause. If not, we're going to continue. Today we're going to be talking about joining parts of the same whole. Okay? So I can use fraction models to solve problems and describe joining fractions with like denominators. So let's head into our Spark Your Learning. It says Tyrell is making berry muffins using the recipe shown. How many cups of berries does Tyrell need? So let's take a peek at a recipe. Many of you may have used a recipe before. I know, McKenna, you really like to cook, and several other people too. I think, Emily, you told me one day you enjoy cooking as well. So let's take a peek at this recipe. This here tells us what are the items that are the ingredients that are going to be in the recipe. And the numbers here, or the fractions in whole numbers, are telling us how much as far as amounts of each of the ingredients. And so the question is asking us, let's go back to our question. Tyrell is making berry muffins using this recipe shown. How many cups of berries does Tyrell need? So we really don't need to look at anything else here. These are all different things that are going to be in that recipe, but the question is just asking about the berries. So there are going to be two different kinds of berries in here. There are going to be 3/6 cups of strawberries and 2/6 of a cup of blueberries. All right, so let's take, I want to use our bars over here to represent them. So let's take a peek at, actually I'm going to use the circles. So we're going to use the circles to represent the strawberries. So we're talking about the whole, the parts are broken into sixths. So we're going to take our sixth and we're going to represent the strawberries. So here's 1/6, but we need 3/6. So I'm going to click on this to represent 2 and 3. Some of you are thinking in your head that, this is representing half. Remember, 3 out of 6, or 3 is half of 6. So you're talking about half, in this case, a half of a cup, or 3/6. All right, and so now let's represent the blueberries. And so let me drag the blueberries down here. And it's going back to the recipe. We're saying, oh, we need 2/6. Well, here's 1/6. Let's add another. And we now have 2/6. Now, remember what we talked about in yesterday's lesson, that each one of these parts is what we call a unit fraction. And if we simply count these unit fractions, we are going to know how many altogether. So if we were to quickly just look at this and we would count them up, we would know that we have 1 unit fraction, 2, 3, 4, 5 total unit fractions, or 5/6 of a cup. Okay, so let's go down here. Instead of doing that, I did it over here. So it says, how many cups of berries does Tyrell need to make those muffins? Well, let's look for our fraction. Not 2/6, not 3/6. When you put all those together, you're going to get a total of 5/6. 5/6 cup of berries. So you added the 3/6 plus the 2/6, and you get 5/6. So here is your equation. This is what the equation is going to look like if you were to write this in equation form. I don't have a pen over here so I can write this, but this would be represented by 3/6, and this one here would be represented by 2/6. Right? Excellent. All right, my friends, turn to the next page. Go to Build for Understanding. And in this one, again, we're going to continue working with recipes. But this one here is going to be, it's calling for sugar. And so let's take a peek and see what they're looking for. It says a recipe calls for the amounts of brown sugar and white sugar shown. How many cups of sugar are needed? I'm going to open this up. Oops. Go a little bit further out because we're not going to need those right now. All right, so we have a recipe that calls for brown sugar and white sugar. And here are the amounts right here on the front of the cup. So here's 3/8 of a cup of brown sugar and 2/8 of a cup of white sugar. And they want you to draw a representation of each fraction in the problem above, then represent the total amount of sugar. So I'm going to sneak down here because it's going to give you that picture right here. So here is your, what are your amounts? The 3/8, so here's the 3/8, and here is the 2/8. So here's your brown sugar and here's your white sugar in a model form. And if you were to count those unit fractions, you would come up with your total at the end. So let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so now, out of 8, we have a total of 5/8 cup of sugar. If you were to mix those brown sugar and the white sugar together, you have 5/8 of a cup. Okay. So let's go down here. It says, why are you able to join together the pieces from each fraction to solve this problem? I can join the pieces together to find the total because they are equal-sized pieces of the same whole. So remember, the whole is the same size, and they're both of the wholes, both the cups are broken into 8s, but they're equal-sized pieces. All right, so the unit fraction, each fraction is composed of the same unit fraction, 1/8. So each piece from each fraction is equal in size. All right, so which addition equation could you write to model this total amount of sugar needed? So this is now where we're going to represent it in fraction form. Well, was it 1/8? It wasn't 1/8 plus 2/8. It was 3/8 of the brown sugar plus 2/8 of the white sugar, which equals 5/8. If you counted those units together, and in this case, we can just simply add our 3 and our 2 together and get our 5. Right, so let's click on that and check our answer. Okay, so add the 3/8 cup of brown sugar and the 2/8 cup of white sugar to get a total of 5/8 cup of sugar. And the equation is 3/8 plus 2/8 equals 5/8. All right. And while I have you with me, we're going to go right to the next one. And we're going to step it out. So let's look at this one. This here is another recipe. It is a recipe calls for milk and oil. Tyrell measures the milk and oil as shown. He then pours both into a mixing bowl. How many cups of liquid ingredients does Tyrell now have in the bowl? Well, he said he has milk over here and oil in this one. And the milk is hard to see, but right here is where it's filled to. And so we know that this is broken into the parts of 6. And so let's count up our units and see how many we have. We have 1, no, where is it? 1, no, this should be 1, 2, 3. This is 3/6 of a cup. And then this here is only 1/6 of a cup. So let's complete an equation to model the situation. So we said that there's a 3/6 cup of milk. Let's see if I can get that down here a little bit further. And then you're going to add the 1/6 cup of the oil. Now remember, the question is how many total cups of liquid are going to be in that bowl. Okay? And if you added them together, you're going to get C. I think a lot of you can see what you're going to end up getting. So let's figure out what C equals. So they want us to represent this in model form. And so let's look at our models. Milk is represented. The whole is broken into 6. And we have 3/6 milk. And then we have 1/6 cup of oil. And when you add these unit fractions together, you're going to get the total. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, which equals 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the 6, or 4/6. Okay, so they want us to write now the equation to replace C. So we had this above. We said 3/6 plus 1/6 equals C. Well, what does C equal? 3/6 plus 1/6 equals 4/6. Let's check our answer. And if you said 4/6, you would be correct, because there is 3/6 cup of milk and 1/6 cup of oil. You're going to add these amounts together to find the amount of liquid in the bowl. So C equals 4/6. All right, so I think I've covered everything I wanted to with you, my friends, with 14.2. What I want you to do is go into your HMH. If you're having any difficulties, please make sure you ask someone either in your house or make sure you reach out to Miss LaFaux or myself. All right, have a great day and enjoy working on this math exercise.